Hello everyone, this is Kat with CatNightTV. Today we are playing Brilliant Shadows, Part 1 of the Book of Grey Magic. This is a visual novel and we're actually on Part 5 of this playthrough through the Part 1 of the book. We are about to see, hopefully, who Ash is finally partnered to, but we'll see if it's coming yet or not. It's very interesting so far, so let's get back to the story. So Hector is saying, okay, now begin to breathe outwards, drawing on the shadow, but not putting it into something specific. Just reach out within yourself.
Reach out with yourself. What does that even mean?
Your energy, your power, the stuff you use in magic.
You can't just reach out with that.
Have you tried?
I would, if it made sense.
Hector seemed unperturbed.
Imagine that the energy you use to create a spell instead is used in a spell animating the air in front of you.
You can't animate air.
I can't believe he hasn't killed her yet.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this.
I'm rather impressed at how inept she is. That level takes dedication. It takes effort.
I'm surprised that this is the first year she's been held back.
It isn't. Apparently, she's actually older than Heck by 2 years.
What? She looks 12.
I'm a bit shocked to learn there's another student so old.
Give Heck until the end of the winter, and he will have her ready to graduate.
You have that much faith in him, huh?
Absolutely. He heard me panicking about my inability to heal well, and, he helped me train last night. He can't even heal, but by simply helping me improve technique, I've already got a firm grip on the basic spell.
Why do you think it will take him the entire winter for her then?
Because she's brain dead.
The two met eyes and broke into laughter. The urge to lean over and nuzzle Prude passed as quickly as it had struck Ash.
There must be some sort of inside necromancer joke.
Still funny.
The trio turned back to Hector with Belinda.
Perhaps try breathing out the magic.
Magic isn't air. How did you graduate? Don't you even teach?
If you don't try, I'm going to tear out your lungs and do it myself.
Whoops. Apparently we don't have unlimited patience.
Prude rushed after Hector, putting herself between him and the other necromancer. Ash spent a moment surveying the gardens for any sign of that odd necromancer girl that she had met before, but the search turned up no one. Ash had a moment alone with the strange paladin.
So what is your home like?
Other than being 1,000 feet in the air, it's pretty boring. Even those who can use magic just spend most of their time trying to figure out how to get the most basic spells to work. Much less exciting than down here.
So, do you think there's a chance that another null like you could be up there and have accidentally paired with me?
I don't really know, to be honest.
I didn't get to ask before the topic kind of got derailed, but...
Elfnud laughed.
Which is a gender-neutral title.
Ah, okay.
Somehow that worried her. The idea of a mysterious potential new girl's love interest to distract her from the one at hand had been a comfort. Then again, was she even so sure that a girl is what she wanted? She couldn't remember having ever been attracted to anyone else, male or female. Perhaps she was not so fickle a heart as to care about gender. Her eyes fell on Prude, who was holding back Belinda as she clawed the air before Hector. Or more likely, she was still just enraptured with Prude, and she was blind to anyone else. She took a moment to look over Elfnod. He was handsome, yes. He was much older, but he had a rugged and worn appeal, like a good pair of old boots. She wasn't sure that was the kind of appeal one would find in a normal attraction.
Something wrong?
Sorry, just thinking.
Alfnod turned to Prude and Hector.
They're a good match. I am impressed at how well they get along, only having just been paired. Either the magic pushes them a little closer, or it's really good at picking. I wonder which it is.
Ash turned back to the three. Hector had begun to explain the basics of ritual casting again, even going as far as to demonstrate it as Belinda continued to struggle past Prude, snarling.
I still don't trust Hector. I think he might have interfered with the ritual, but I cannot deny that he really does seem like Prude's type. I should know. I tried to be that type.
Oh, I am sorry. I know that can be hard. My fathers were the same way, and witches are generally more accepting of such things. Or so I would surmise from what I have seen.
Your fathers?
I am the son of my father's first marriage. He remarried after my mother died in an accident to my other father.
Oh. Are you?
I don't advertise it, but yes, I don't want to suffer any more prejudice. Being considered mad is more than enough.
So your blood father, he's interested in both?
Aye. He told me once that he would never meet a woman he loved as much as my mother. But he was happy to have met a man that he could.
I never really considered it, being interested in both.
It's not so uncommon among my people.
It's rare here.
I imagine it's lesser than you think. Likely it's just frowned upon, as it is in most primitive societies.
We're not primitive.
Says the little girl to the man from the flying island.
Point taken.
You have no idea how refreshing it is to talk to someone who doesn't think I'm crazy or simply lying.
It's nice to talk to someone who has an idea of what I'm going through.
I understand. If you need to talk about anything, you have my ear. I also have a bit more experience with romance than you, so don't be afraid to ask for advice.
Ash sat thoughtfully as she and Alfnod watched the melee.
Okay then. Do you think I should stop pursuing Prude?
Alfnod turned back from the howling Belinda, who had resorted to flinging curses at Hector.
I assume you've already talked to her about it, yeah?
Ash nodded.
And what did she say?
She said she wasn't...
She couldn't finish the sentence. Alfnod only nodded.
Then yes. That road only has sadness. If you change her mind, you will find one day that she is lying to herself. If you push too hard, she may push back and push you away. Be happy with friendship. Try to move on. Find someone else. Be they boy or girl.
Alfnod turned back to her and smiled.
Just don't pick me. I ain't the type to rob cradles.
Alfnod laughed, and Ash found herself joining in.
Good!
Belinda was standing in shock, a tendril of shadow leaking out from her chest.
Oh, light and shadows, heck! Were you trying to enrage her until she got the spell?
Not really, but I figured that if I just kept explaining it in different ways, eventually something would stick.
Belinda's face was a mask of shock. She looked younger than ever, a child wild-eyed.
Can you teach me more?
Right now, I'd like to take a break to eat something.
But we just started!
Yes, and using that much energy quickly tires me. We can start again after eating.
Oh, jeez, heck. Do you have two stomachs or something?
A chill ran down Ash's spine. Goddess, that kept happening.
No, of course not. Magic is energy intensive, though.
Yeah, but you eat like a horse.
No, I assure you, I eat a highly balanced diet, including many diverse foods and dairy products.
Let's just go get you fed.
Wonderful idea.
We may as well follow them.
No, I have to go look into something. Could you tell them I just had something occur to me and I needed some time with my research?
Of course.
Still watching as prudent Hector walked towards the kitchen, Ash retreated away towards the library. She prayed she found something to ease her fears. While it may seem unlikely, gray mages are capable of performing the pairing ritual again, and in fact do so. In the autopsy of a particularly powerful gray mage that had been ravaging the city of Treeport, 4 complete sets of organs were present, suggesting that gray mages will pair and cannibalize each other. Ash skipped a few pages that went into detail about the anatomy. Little is known about how the altered anatomy affects the daily life of a gray mage, as none have ever been captured alive. Some mages suggest that this may trigger increased metabolism as well as increased physical ability without even tapping into the powers available to a mage capable of reaching into both pools. The anatomy may also contribute to gray mages' apparent ability to operate with very little sleep. Ash closed the book. It was the 3rd she had read of the limited library containing studies into gray mages. She wished she had found something more to convince her that her fears regarding Hector were but that, fears. Unfortunately, nothing she had found had comforted her.
That's some pretty heavy reading.
Ash snapped to attention, clapping the book shut as her eyes met with Belinda.
What are you doing here?
I noticed you weren't going with the others. I wasn't hungry, so I followed you.
And you've been staring at me reading?
You haven't been here that long.
Belinda's eyes fell upon the books and returned to Ash.
You don't think Hector's a gray mage, do you? I mean, I know you don't like him. I know I certainly don't. But that doesn't mean he's actually evil, you know?
Not enough evidence yet.
No.
I mean, the heads have the Rod of Finding. It clearly marks pools of power inside of people. They would immediately be able to identify if someone had 2 pools inside them. And weren't they out scouting with Hector just the other day?
Ash felt a great weight slide off her shoulders. She had forgotten about the rod, about the trip. She had been so concerned with the oddities that existed in Hector that she hadn't realized how impossible her fear was.
Thank you.
No worries. I figured I should tell you. I mean, I owed him for the ritual thing. Anyway, I'm going to leave you to clean up your books. I'm heading back to the garden for more training.
With that, Belinda left. With a sigh, Ash reopened the book and began to read once more, starting from the section with the detailed descriptions of anatomy. Hector was right. Studying was just what she needed to relax.
So, did you figure out who she was?
I think so.
For now, we have to speak
Only at night, when she's sleeping. Do you have any information on this thing on my hand?
No, and she's not asleep. Hello there, girlie.
Swirling.
The sounds in her head were gone. Ash pushed herself upright, off of the pillow of the tome. That would make this the 2nd time hearing those voices. She couldn't decide whether or not hearing the voices proved them real or her mad. Had they been talking about a mark? The voices had sounded different this time, more clear. Still, they hadn't sounded right. One had sounded at once both singular and a chorus. Shivers found her in the warm library. If what they had discussed was indeed a mark, then one of those voices was her pair.
Good, you're awake. Prudence was worried about you when you didn't return.
There are certain curses far more dire and foul than light and shadow or goddess. Ash quickly recited all that she could remember in rapid succession as she leapt to her feet.
Studying the gray mages.
His face was crestfallen.
I am sorry I told you about my theory.
Oh, why?
Ash asked the question with a little more enthusiasm than it required, her heart still pounding from Hector's sudden appearance.
Prudence informed me that the idea of being paired to a grey mage had frightened you. Admittedly, rightfully so.
Hector paused, his face becoming a mask of concentration as he appeared to disappear into deep thought.
Your fears are unfounded. A grey mage would have to be very nice to be paired with you, because you are a very nice person. Unless you are secretly a sociopath. I speculate there may be perhaps one or maybe two grey mages with any reason to be such besides being, well, evil. But such grey mages would be very, very rare, and it is unlikely you would ever meet one. I mean truly extraordinarily rare. Believe me, I've thought about it. A lot.
I get it.
The point I am trying to make is that I made my original theory when I was grasping at straws. As ridiculous as it sounds, you are far more likely paired to someone living high atop a flying island, and they probably have no idea what the phoenix mark on their hand is about.
The words struck a chord within Ash.
I think you're at least half right there.
She paused for dramatic effect.
I heard voices again.
Heck's eyes grew large and his lips narrow, his face flushing.
Light and shadows. I need to talk to Elfnod more. I need to learn about this witch magic.
Do you think it's a witch?
Possibly. Just think. Being paired to something other than a paladin. If that is possible, would trios be possible? A witch, a paladin, and a necromancer. And you mentioned wizards. Are they a type of witch? Or could we have squads? Oh, just imagine it. 4 people. Of course, if we ever find that to be the case, we'll have to keep this secret from the cult of grey mages.
Yeah, that's not something I wanted to think about. Yeesh.
Sorry.
So how are we going to get to a flying island?
Hector's enthusiasm dampened with a visible tick of his eye.
Ah, yes, well, I haven't gotten that sorted yet. The first thing I plan to do is determine the range the ritual is capable of. From there...
Hector shrugged.
Now, about the voices, what did they say?
Ash recited the conversation as best she could.
I think your pair's a boy. Sorry.
Sorry for what?
Because you like girls.
I'm surprised you picked up on that.
The sarcasm dripped from her voice.
I am more perceptive than people give me credit for, which isn't actually that hard, as I don't think I am ever given any credit.
Anyway, I don't really know what I want.
Ash cocked her head for a moment.
No, I lied. I still want to be with Prude.
Me too.
Ash's eyes grew wide. A knot of anger boiled in her stomach.
I like her. I didn't really know who I would be paired with, or even if I would.
Hector struggled with words, wrestling between his tongue and head, trying to find what to say.
I like her.
Well, resentment doesn't usually get you anywhere, so sympathize. Ash sighed.
You and me both.
The two sat in the dark of the library, silent until the candle began to burn low.
I'm going to bed.
I should probably do the same.
Hector began to turn when suddenly Ash was before him, dangerously close.
What's the...
Try to find out what Prude sees in him, or give him a piece of your mind. Let's find out what Prude sees in him. Ha! Ash leaned into him and pressed her lips against his. The kiss with Prude had been soft, natural, and giving. This was hard and awkward, as Hector himself. Ash broke away and stared at Hector. The man looked broken.
What?
Was all he could manage.
Thanks. I just wanted to see something, and I'm not friends with many boys.
Oh, yes. An experiment. Yes. Completely understandable. Yes.
Hector blushed so red, there was actually color to his pale face.
Good night, Hector.
Yes. Good night. Yes.
Ash left. The next day, Ash woke up early. She donned the only pair of pants she owned, and a dress short enough to be mistaken for a shirt. Why did she own a dress like that anyway? Prude likely gave it to her ages ago. Heading out of the dorm, she marched down the mountain stairs and toward the Paladin's barracks. Not a soul crossed her path as she made her trek. Reaching the practice yard, she armed herself with a wooden sword from one of the many racks. Holding it forward, she gave a few sheepish swings, trying to judge its balance. Satisfied, she began to practice. It wasn't long after that, the first of the Paladin trainees began to arrive. They looked at her with a mixture of confusion and bemused expressions. They left her alone, save for when she caught the occasional bout of laughter. She could only assume it was at her expense. It had been a very long time since she last held a blade.
Ash?
Ash stopped, wiping sweat from her brow.
Hey,
Why are you out here?
I want to learn to fight.
Prude narrowed her eyes.
You want to learn to fight? Why?
I have my reasons.
Necromancers don't fight.
I fight.
Ash hadn't seen him approach. If there were any lingering feelings over their encounter from yesterday, he failed to show them.
Okay, fine. Well, most necromancers don't fight.
Hello, Ash.
Ash felt whatever emotion had compelled her to come here this morning drain away.
I didn't realize that you trained here.
Where else would I go to fight?
That makes sense. That's why I'm here. I was thinking of trying to... I'm not sure. Become... stronger.
That's good. I was worried that you were coming here for me after that incident yesterday.
Incident?
Yes, Ash kissed me.
What?
Prude's gaze was upon Ash like the eyes of an angry god.
Look, I can...
I can't believe you! I like him, And after what happened between...
Prude seemed lost for words. As much as she didn't like to live up to her namesake, cursing had never been a particular skill of hers. Instead of searching for words, Prude found a practice sword instead.
You want to learn to fight? Let's fight!
The sword came down like a hammer across Ash's guard. She had to hold her sword by both the blade and hilt to hold back the strike. Ash gasped as her ears rang. Prude was casting enhancement magic. It wasn't her specialty, but it was overkill against an already weaker Ash.
Wait, Prude, let me explain!
Another barely blocked blow sent Ash to a knee.
I don't believe this is necessary. The kiss was part of an experiment, one in which I participated willingly.
An experiment?
Ash, she wanted to know if she liked boys. She has no interest in me particularly. It was an attempt on her part to determine if there was any physical reaction with a man. As you might imagine, there was not. Had I known how much it would affect you, I would not have suggested my participation. Somehow, I thought the fact that we both liked you would cancel out the normal romanticism of the kiss.
You like me?
That's the one piece of information you got from that?
But of course, you're my pair.
Oh!
Prudence seemed somewhat deflated, but at least she was no longer attacking. Ash had to shake out her hands, which felt oddly itchy.
Ash, I see you seem to be trying to learn how to use a sword. A blade is a fine choice of weapon, but you will want something smaller. Necromantic abilities require more manual dexterity than a paladin's, and you will want to keep one hand free.
Hector took Ash's sword by the blade and handed her a shorter, thinner blade.
Now the first thing you need to do is assume a better stance.
And square your shoulders.
Also control your swings better. Accuracy will always trump force.
Unless your weapon is big enough that it's more of an area attack than a strike.
Whatever anger had been there before seemed to have melted as they instructed. Both Prudence's rage at her and Ash's own resentment for Hector. They continued to point and prod, guiding her through the polish of skills long left to rust.
Exactly, but that's not something you'll have to worry about unless you're slinging spells.
You should definitely practice casting while swinging.
The two were like clockwork, perfectly complementary.
Goddess, you two are perfect for each other, aren't you?
Prude blushed. Hector did not react at all, not even to acknowledge the words, a behavior that in and out of itself was out of character.
I did not know we were going to continue our training here.
Oh no, we're doing combat training, nothing ritual.
Is this going to become a normal thing? I was told only paladins needed to know how to learn frontline combat.
No, just my friends apparently.
That would explain why Miss Belinda is not here.
Belinda doesn't like me?
I suspect she doesn't like anyone.
Here, Elfnod. You spar with Ash. Me and Hector will give pointers.
Should I really be sparring already?
Don't be afraid. I am a terrible fighter.
With that, he made a wide arcing swing. Ash caught the blow with surprising ease and rebuffed it.
She's better than I expected.
She used to train with me, you know.
Why did she stop?
Needed to spend more time on her own training.
I can hear you talking about me, and it's very distracting.
Elfnod swung again, and Ash caught the blow once more, guiding the strike down her blade and away from her.
Veronica, start casting.
Don't call me that.
Elfnod swung a few more times in quick succession. Ash saw the sweat on his forehead bead as she more casually knocked away his blows. Before she consciously realized what she was doing, she felt a rolling knot of black energy in her right hand. Knocking aside another blow, she stepped in with as much force as she could muster, buried her fist into the paladin's stomach. A gasp rose from Prude and Hector as the older man stumbled back. A moment later, he fell to a knee.
That's a hell of a curse.
Sorry. Are you okay?
Elfnod nodded slowly, glowed for a moment, and then stood up, panting.
You know, I don't have any desire to be a warrior. Don't even care if I don't get paired. I want to learn to heal.
You can't heal without being paired. Not enough power. Just like necromancers can't reanimate.
I don't need to do it magically. White magic can supplement natural healing through enhancement, and it would make me an excellent doctor.
Yeah, Elfnod is a noble soul.
Ash turned to face the other necromancer, a thought crossing her mind. She raised her blade to Hector.
Well, I took one opponent easily enough. While I don't think I can take Prude, I do believe I can take another necromancer.
Prude made a face Ash couldn't quite interpret, and Hector laughed, drawing his own practice blade from the rack.
It would be my pleasure to give you the honor of a fight, Ash.
Ash raised her blade as Hector gave some manner of salute. He may have trained, but he could not be as skilled as a fully trained paladin. He likely had as much experience as her. He was more muscular, true, but she could deal with that. She just had to use her reach to her advantage. Ash blinked, and Hector was upon her. His massive frame cleared the gap between them, and he bore down with both hands wrapped tight around the grip of his enormous sword. Ash dodged and turned to see the sword sheathed to the hilt in the mud. Hector free of it. He was still atop her, both hands glowing. A flare of black and green struck her, one in the stomach, one in the chest. She reeled.
Light and shadows, Heck, what is your problem?
Alfnod stood above Ash, swimming in and out of focus.
You're a brave one to challenge Mr. Warlock.
What?
I can't believe you didn't know. No one but the instructors have ever beaten Heck.
Why didn't anyone warn me?
More importantly, why didn't you hold back?
I'm sorry.
Ash winced as she gasped for air.
I think you broke some of my ribs.
I am sorry. I thought you would be insulted if I held back in a formal challenge.
Veronica, Hector, what's going on here?
Fighting?
Hector answered candidly, his smile gone, replaced by the narrowed eyes and scowl he adopted whenever one of the heads arrived.
Hector, we've already spoken about you being here, but bringing your new girlfriend is entirely unacceptable.
Ash and I have no such relation.
I think you might be right about the ribs.
Alfnod said as he was slowly checking her chest, an action that would have been discomforting were it anyone else. Zachariah sighed and leaned over Ash. A flash of light and the pain was gone.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Zachariah specializes in enhancement and healing. We have had the conversation. She's actually relatively good at healing.
Did you just compliment me?
You're not completely terrible, ma'am.
I am so shocked that the little chalk mark isn't insulting me, that I'm not even mad.
Zachariah's eyes fell down to Ash.
You! If you're going to try to learn to fight, do so when you're not going to distract my other trainees.
For the first time, Ash realized that others had gathered to watch her fight with Hector. She wondered if the brief duration had been a disappointment.
Get back to training, unless you want to fight me too.
The student scampered away, wide-eyed. Hector's eyes turned to Zachariah, and the poison burnt in the air between them.
You're welcome to fight me too, Zachariah.
The words dripped with venom.
There's the warlock we all know and revile. Finish your drills and get out of my barracks, rot-sucker.
As you command.
Hector gave an exaggerated, even mocking bow. Alfnod gave a more sincere bow to the girls before he returned to spar with the other paladins. Hector stood in silence, his eyes following the head as she departed.
What is the deal with Hector and the heads?
I don't know. It's scary, though. He goes from being a puppy to a rabid bloodhound as soon as they show up.
Eventually, Hector lost interest in the heads retreating back and, without a word, tore his blade out of the muck and began performing his sword drills. Prudence gave Ash a reassuring smile, and the two began to walk her through some of the more basic sword drills. As they practiced, Ash could not help glancing over at Hector every once in a while. The training passed without incident, but as Ash returned to her room to shower and dress, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Gray Mage or not, there was something off about Hector. Even now, she could see the venom in his eyes, and it terrified her. Exiting from her changing room after her shower, Ash found Prude sitting on her bed, playing with one of the semi-wild cats that roamed the mountain.
Oh, I didn't expect you to be here.
I wanted to talk.
So this is where we're going to stop for now. We're going to find out what Prude and Ash talk about next time we do part 6 of the playthrough. For now, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you're on YouTube. And we'll be back soon with more. Have a great night.